Town Council meets tonight. We've got details on the agenda, plus an update on the Hyannis Access Study implementation. All on this episode of Barnstable Today. It's Thursday, January 3rd, 2013. I'm Sarah Colvin. Barnstable Town Council holds its first meeting of the new year tonight. Council President Dr. Deborah Dagwan tells us some zoning ordinance changes will top off the agenda.
First of all, we have several amendments that we're going to be addressing. The first is the zoning. We have two zoning ordinance amendments. And the first is a zoning ordinance amendment requested by the Hyannis Water Board, which is a groundwater protection overlay district prohibiting use amendment. The Water Board is asking the Town Council to adopt this amendment in order to protect our groundwater and our 3 wells from contamination by commercial fertilizers, and also to bring the zoning ordinance in alignment with the state regulations by the Department of Environmental Protection.
That change will affect the storage of commercial fertilizer in certain areas of town.
It is concerned with how we store commercial fertilizers, preventing it from entering our groundwater supply. And that will be, we will be having a public hearing on that. Now, there may be some question as to whether we may have to push this to the next meeting because I think we may have a conflict with one of the presenters for the night, but it may go through, it may get pushed to the next meeting, but that is one of the ones that's on our agenda.
Another item up for discussion tonight deals with a somewhat controversial topic.
It's proposed to allow some time to establish the protocol for the geographical location and permitting process associated with the medical marijuana law for the purpose of establishing dispensaries or treatment centers within the town. We all know the law went into effect January 1st, and we had approximately 69% of the people in our town voted in support of this. So the problem we're having right now, the law goes into effect on January 1st, but the Department of Public Health, who sets the regulations, have until May to complete the regulations. So this leaves many cities and towns without the proper guidance This leaves many of the cities and towns in the Commonwealth without the proper guidance to regulate such treatment centers and to effectively and appropriately comply with the law.
Another code change will affect historical properties.
One's a general ordinance and the other one is just amending the general code. But amending the general ordinance for the demolition of historic properties within our town, making the process more efficient by adjusting the language so it streamlines the process and improves the regulations and permitting process, and in order to better preserve our historical buildings. And that's very important that we preserve our historical buildings and allow enough time to do it effectively.
Council will also take a vote on updated fees.
Something we do every year is finally we will be amending our General Code Chapter 76, which contains the schedules of fees for licensing, weighs and measures fees annually. So that will be something that will also be on there.
But before the council gets down to business, the meeting will begin with the presentation of treats from a nearby town.
The Barnstable Town Council will be presented some shellfish by the Falmouth Selectmen as a result of an ongoing tradition on Thanksgiving Day between the Falmouth High School and Barnstable High School football teams. As you know, Barnstable was the winner of this year's Thanksgiving Day game, and they were awarded the Selectmen's Trophy as part of the yearly holiday tradition. Therefore, Falmouth Selectmen will be making good on that promise and that tradition by presenting the Barnstable Town Council with shellfish.
Town Council meets tonight at 7 p.m. in the second floor hearing room here at Town Hall. The meeting airs live on Channel 18 and also on the web at town.barnstable.ma.us. Well, this month, the Hyannis Access Study Task Force could take a vote on a preferred design. Of course, we're talking about relieving some traffic congestion in and around the busy airport rotary. Cape Cod Commission Technical Services Director Glenn Cannon outlines the options on the table for changes in that area.
We really have 4 concepts here that we have moved forward from the Hyannis Access Study. The first one is to replace the airport rotary with a single traffic signal. We have laid it out. It does fit. There are some minor land takings to take, but some land takings. It does create one large traffic signal there There have been concerns raised by the community about an automobile being trapped in the middle.
Right.
And we have looked at that. It is a concern. The task force is aware of it, and they will be voting on that. The second concept is to split I&O Road there'd be a 2-traffic signal system. I&O Road would come down to Route 28 as a traffic signal, and then we'd split off Barnstable Road coming from Hyannis Center to Route 28 with a second traffic signal. That one works acceptably. There are significant land takings there. The VFW Hall and Mitchell, those would both those properties would be taking as part of that. Nantucket Sound would also be taken. So there are significant takings with that type of improvement. We've heard some concern from the airport itself about that concept also, because right now with their new access road, vehicles are cutting through there at a high rate of speed, and they have a lot of concern about that, particularly with it runs right in front of their terminal. They have their passengers coming in and out of that terminal carrying their luggage, and again you have cars coming in at a high rate of speed. It's a concern for the airport.
Absolutely.
I know it is. They voiced that opinion to me. We're bringing that forward to the task force also. The next two concepts are both having the grade separation, technically grade separation, where Route 28 would go underneath the airport rotary, and on top would be a roundabout. They're more like overpasses than they're not tunnels.
Right.
I don't want to call them tunnels. They're more like underpasses with a roundabout on top. It would serve all access points. Everyone would have full access there. What it would do would remove the Route 28 traffic, so it would have a straight through
Right, so 28
run.
would just go right through. But if you wanted to, say, go to Barnstable Road or go to 132, you could then kind of choose to use the
Correct.
roundabout
You'd go
on
up
top.
to a ramp, or you'd stay at the level. Route 28 would go underneath. You'd stay on the ramp. You get into the roundabout. You'd exit the roundabout just like you do today. The fourth concept is, again, it's grade separation. It's the completion of I&O Road. So that's Route 132 to Route 28 in between the airport rotary and Yarmouth Road. That would go underneath a roundabout on top. Again, you'd have full access here, but removing that through movement is a significant savings in time, air pollution, delay, everything. For either one of those two concepts, they're significantly, the model shows them significantly improved. They're also more costly.
Right.
Once you have grade separation, once you're introducing bridges, they're more money. So that's the decision the task force will have to make. I know we have heard from the business community that is a concept that they're in favor of. They love the I&O Road to I&O Road concept, that completion of the commercial sector, if you will, for Barnstable, coming from the larger individual mall areas to downtown, and just the commercial sector of that section of road. If you look at Route 28 as you come away from the airport rotary and head west, there's still some commercial land there, but it becomes residential fairly quickly. The nature of the road changes there.
Cannon says a vote could come when the task force meets on January 23rd.
Again, I will be pushing them for a vote. We've gone out to the community. We've gathered input from the community. I've given that input back to the task force. But once we start pushing for a vote, we're really going to take an in-depth look at the concepts that are out there. They may have some more questions for us. They've had a little bit of time to study it. So we might have to address those questions for them. It might take us some time as staff. I'll push for a vote on the 23rd. We might come back in February, but in February I'd be looking to wrap it up.
Great.
Looking for, again, that preferred alternative of which one we take to MassDOT, and we'll be looking for funding. And that's the big challenge.
Again, the task force meets January 23rd at Cape Cod Commission headquarters. That's on 6A in historic Barnstable Village. You can learn more about the Hyannis Access Study online. Head to capecodcommission.org. With Barnstable Today, I'm Sarah Colvin.